Pop shop again. As most of you know that watch my channel once in a while, my whole 31 subscribers, I build fence, so I haven't really been getting much done on the old toy hauler here because I've just been working and helping family move an entire farmstead. But I did do a bunch of work inside and a little bit on suspension, and so I can at least put out some kind of a video because it's been a long time. Sorry about that. Okay, get the wiring in and where it needs to go, up into the fan, overhead light. This will be lights in the cabinet. This is speaker wire. This is a speaker wire. We'll get some foam in there. Well, insulation, and start laying in foam. And there we go, insulation. Let's spray some glue on there and put up the foam. Well, there's one. Now we got to do all the other walls and the ceiling. Well, there's one glued and screwed. Our overhead cabinet and our window trim should hold the rest of it. Have to make a little filler and some trim over there on that edge. But that's just how big it ended up being. Let's keep going. Well, we got the other side put in. And we're starting to get the back wall in. It's going to be pretty cool. Alright. Pretty dark in here, but get the back wall wrapped up. We've got some repairs to do up there, but hopefully we get cabinets in it by the end of this episode. Well, it's been a couple days because, you know, I got a job. But come out here the other day with a little bit of help and put this ceiling in. Once again, it'll be trim over here by this, just like everything else. It's kind of a small project in here. It's hard to even do camera in a tiny little room like this, but starting to look like something. I think I'll see if I can't start figuring out some of this trim and some cabinet over in that dark corner, and yeah, I don't know, we'll play with it some more today. Yeah. Starting to look like something. Still terrible lighting in here, but yeah, got some drawers, a place to hang your clothes. This one will go up there. It's just terrible lighting, so I just kind of got to show what I've done after I do it. Okay. Still terrible lighting, but got the window, or the door, yeah, window. And then I put trim on this window so I can determine my cabinet height. So I'm gonna have to cut down the cabinet to fit under there. My cabinet's 35, and that's only about 33. Okay, so we did get that one up in there. I forgot to put wiring for this light. Not to splice into that. I started working on, I got trash all over the floor. Started working on my little countertop to go under that window, and I turned on a really bright light so we can kind of see. But there's not much room in here to get the camera far enough out of the way so we can actually see what's going on. But luckily I have really long arms, so I don't know. Working. Had to trim out that window to figure out what heights to make that cabinet. And I can't really get it any shorter, so whatever. Made countertop out of one of the old tables that fit in the floor, so that'll work. Okay, I got some of the mess cleaned up so I can walk around in here, but that actually had little doors. Got these ones all functional. They have safety lift up latches. You got a little spot to hide your dirty shoes. Place for your clothes. Tiny overhead. Speaker going on. Trimmed out the fan. Got that overhead going. Put some of the old tags that were on the motorhome originally. Thought that was kind of cool. And it covered up a hole that it had in there where that used to hook to another cabinet. Filled in the blank with the screen. Started working on a couch. So, had some other cushions I'll cut down and re-sew together. But that's pretty comfy cozy. Still got some stuff to do behind me, but there's a really bright light right there. I gotta get up into there to change all them front marker lights. So can't really take this out because it was installed and then the wall, so it sits on top. So what I'll do is cut a big hole in there and make a cool little shelf to set your phone or your, GoPro or whatever just before bedtime up here on the bed when we pull them windows out and have them reglazed. It's coming together, but coming together enough that it's not here. I'm gonna start working on making the thing run again. I gotta jump off the edge of here. I don't have stairs yet, but there's one fuel tank that I damaged when putting the bed on. I can patch that. That one is all nice and clean inside. The other fuel tank, that's the sending unit. And because this thing's a 1983, I can't get another one, so we're going to use some vinegar and we're going to clean that up as best we can. It might not have a fuel gauge anymore, but it'll at least pick up fuel, and when it runs out I can switch it over to that one, which is nice and clean inside. This one here is the smaller one. That is, I'm sure this is probably impossible, but we'll try. I watch everybody else do this on YouTube and it never works. Let's try and get the camera and the flashlight. Yeah, it's got chunks of gross. Probably easier would be to show you is what this fuel looks like. Yeah, that's not the right color. And if we had smell-o-vision, it's disgusting. So I will also clean all that out with vinegar, which actually works pretty good. Let it sit for like 24 hours, throw a bunch of bolts in there, slosh it around. When you're all done, wash it out with some baking soda water to deactivate the acid. And that's actually how I cleaned that other tank a few years back. I just hadn't been using this one, but I'd like to use both, so that's next on the program. I don't know. I've been working on this thing since January, but I only get to work on it once in a while, so I don't get as much progress as I wish. But it's going to be a cool toy hauler. Eventually I'll put all this together in one video and be a lot less boring, I hope. Okay, I left off with I'm going to dump vinegar in this thing. Well, I did yesterday, and swashed it around with some bolts and nice clean vinegar. Now it looks really freaking gross. I dumped it out right here, and there's my bolts that were rattling around in there. I did make a mistake though, as don't put in a stainless steel bolt. They're really hard to pull back out with a magnet. So I just had to shake and shake and shake until it finally came out. Should have checked that out. This right here is over a half a cup of yuck that came out of the tank. And we couldn't see before and we can't see now, but it's a lot better in there. Now I gotta do the rinse it all out with water, and then add baking soda water and rinse it some more, and I think we should be good. Was not able to get new sending units. However, I did run a meter on this one, and I'm getting partial signal, and I ordered a new float because that's beyond solderable. So it just looks like the stars when you look through it that way. All the little holes in the other side. And anywho, I should be able to get her fixed and going again later. Okay, another step in the process here. Use my skid steer to pick this thing up because it's heavy. Got it set on a bunch of blocks. This only has a 5-stack leaf stack, and it's spring over axle. So I'm going to add this other short stack, which are pretty short, by putting a new center pin in, and that will give me 1.5 inches of lift plus the added strength, so it's not so soft riding, because the motorhome kind of had a sway to it. I want it to be a little stiffer like an actual load truck. I already have Bilsteins on it, so that helped a bunch. But while I'm waiting for parts on the fuel tanks, I'm going to go ahead and already pulled the U-bolts out. That should separate pretty easily. I got longer U-bolts and new center pins to put all this back together, same as I did on the cheap Jeep lift. So we'll get after this, show you when I've got it stacked back in. Well, that was a struggle. This axle didn't drop down very far, so very difficult to hold all that, get my new center bolt put back in there, but there we go. Now we have a 9-stack pack that is 1.5 inches taller. So we'll do it on the other side and set her back down. Well, first put the wheels on. See how she looks. There we go. 1.5 inch lift on the toy hauler. That'll take the weight better. Supper time. I got one of my parts, but I need new socks for these sending units. Got all the rust cleaned out of the tanks. They're all ready to go. Cleaned up a whole lot of the mess. Still waiting on those little socks. You know, the mail gets lost. But meantime, I also bought another motorcycle. So that'll be probably in future videos, because I already had this one. So that'll probably be in future videos when I'm not so busy working and I can actually get back to working in Pop's shop. I really want to get motorhome, car hauler, toy hauler. It's nice out. I've started this thing in January and now it's the end of May. So just a little bit at a time. That's why my videos are so far apart. So really appreciate everybody that watches. Nobody, you know, subscribe or anything. I don't need that. I have 31. That's perfect. Thanks for watching.